Welcome to GCTV for round 7 of the Global Champions League. The 16 teams move from Hamburg to Cannes following an outstanding victory for Valkenswaard United in the previous round. For the top 3 in the championship, the Berlin Eagles, Stockholm Hearts and Hamburg Giants, they all struggled in Hamburg, but will be looking to exact revenge this weekend. But for Valkenswaard United, it was not just the victory that they delivered, it was how they delivered it with style and humour from Marcus Eining and John Whittaker.
Always in for a good laugh. Younger than ever. John Whittaker, 66 years of age. What an icon.
So it's time for us to change scenery once again from the wet and cold of Hamburg to the sun and warmth of the French Riviera. Let's head to the beautiful city of Cannes.
In the heart of the French Riviera. Glitz, glamour, and style. Cannes welcomes elite riders for a dazzling horse show and top-class sport. Longines Global Champions Tour at Stade d'Espagne from the 2nd to the 4th of June.
From day to night, from wet to dry, and from sun to floodlight, there could not be a bigger contrast from round 6 to round 7 of the Global Champions League. As we move from Hamburg to Cannes, we are looking forward to seeing just how differently this weekend will be tackled by the riders. Who then will struggle under the floodlights? Who then in this arena will be able to make light work of the course set up? We will find out the course of the weekend as well. So stay with us here on GCTV as we prepare to bring you round 1 of the Global Champions League tonight, and of course on Saturday, Super Saturday, round 2 of the Global Champions League and the LGCT Grand Prix of Cannes as well. Let's not waste any time before we get into round 7. Let's go straight to Cannes, straight to Frederik De Backer and catch up with him. Frederik De Backer, welcome to the show, sir. You are looking very French Riviera tonight. We're talking about a contrast. We are talking about a change from Hamburg to Cannes. How big a role is that going to play for these riders that jumped last weekend to the riders that will be jumping again this weekend?
Before we talk about the riders, let's talk about ourselves. It has been extremely cold and wet in Hamburg, and this is much more comfortable. It's much nicer. It has been very hot though during the day, but now as the sun has set around the Stade d'Espagne, it gets much more nicer. The wind comes in, takes the heat away, and it's absolutely perfect now. Yeah, it's a big difference. It's a big difference. If you look at the length of the arena in Hamburg, it was 150 meters, I believe. That's half of what we have here. This is 75 by 55. So it's actually, it feels kind of like we're in a square, in a square arena. So that's one thing. Second thing is the slope. Though this is a small arena, this is actually on a football pitch. There's still quite a strong slope on this arena. I don't know how that plays out for the football game. I think the ball always rolls that way, so you're better standing there if you want to score than standing up the hill. And then of course there's the other aspect, and that is the floodlight. I don't know if you can see it around me, Mark, but the floodlight has come on. This is the first event since Doha where we will be jumping under floodlight. We don't have many floodlight events, for example. Monaco is another one. So this is only the second event under floodlight. Add that to the very small warm-up. There isn't a big warm-up here in Cannes. It's long, but it's very narrow. So there's a lot of aspects that you have to consider before coming to Cannes. Also, the team managers have to take that all into consideration. Jumping on the floodlight, the light slope, and the slope isn't the most difficult part of this venue. But the size, the floodlight, the small warm-up, put that all into a pot, stir it around, and that's what the riders and managers will have to deal with.
Makes me wonder if you're the football team, you're right, you win the toss and you play from left to right, without a doubt, in that first half all the time. Frederik, I've done some homework and I looked to see, I think about 8 or 9 of the horses on today's team sheet are 10 years or younger. And now I hear you talking about slope and floodlights. I see apartments behind you as well. Does this make for very tricky jumping, perhaps for the less experienced horses? Will they have a really tough time in an arena like today?
I think it's double. Experience will come into play, certainly, with the slope, with the size of the arena and the floodlight. And all these horses, there aren't so many shows under floodlight, so they didn't have all that exposure. So it's a part experience, but you will also have those 12, 13-year-olds that will come into this ring and think, wow, under the floodlight, the shape, you jump from one side of the arena to the next. There's no really a long line or the long side where horses can relax. So even the 12 and 13-year-olds that are a bit spooky by nature and that haven't jumped on the floodlight in a long time will also be affected by the circumstances. Obviously, younger horses will wait and see how they react to this arena here at the Stade des Hesperides, but also experienced horses can struggle with this.
All right, Frederick, we'll let you get busy with your course walk. We'll catch up with you again in a few moments' time. And already you can get the feeling, you get the impression that the floodlights jumping in the evening is maybe going to be one of the big talking points of the weekend. GCTV caught up with a handful of riders to try and find out how they feel about jumping under the floodlights.
Riding under the lights is different, you know. It's obviously different than riding under the sunlight. The horses get a little bit more, you know, there's a lot of shadows and a lot of other things that the horses look at. So you need a really experienced horse.
For sure, it's a little bit, I mean, they come in there and it's really, really bright. So for sure, it's a bit different. But yeah, you just have to ride good and yeah, keep your plan.
Some horses even jump a little bit better under the light. It's always a great atmosphere, especially now when we have all the spectators back.
Completely different than Hamburg. I have the same two horses here, but they're more or less experienced under the lights as well, so hopefully it won't affect them too much.
Actually in Doha we were under the lights as well. My horses jumped good, but like this last week we were in Hamburg in a forest basically, and this week we're kind of by the sea, small sand arena, so it's definitely a different venue, so we'll see how I take the challenge. Yeah.
The horse I jumped tonight under the light, I know he should do good. And the other one, I will have one more round before and see how he reacts.
My horse have been jumping a few times with it, so I think some horses, they like it and some they don't. But I hope it will be good for us.
So your horses like it?
Yeah.
So, according to Evelina Tovek, all horses do like it. Which of the other riders then on this starting lineup for round 7 of the Global Champions League might just find life a little bit difficult for their horses under the floodlights here in Cannes. Now, before we start looking ahead to the course walk and the riders and the team selections, let's remind you what took place in round 6 of the Global Champions League. In particular, how a very unique looking top 3 wrapped up in Hamburg.
Cannes Stars with Johnny Balls on Charlie with Jens Bachmann on No Manet. It's a good clear from Johnny Balls. It will be his 3rd clear of the season, and he really picks him up and puts him over. And Johnny Balls has got a clear. Here comes Jens Bachmann, No Manet. Cannes Stars can start dreaming of maybe a 2nd podium finish this season. Here comes Jens Bachmann on No Manet to take the lead in Hamburg. What a double clear! This is super interesting. Jack Whittaker for Madrid in Motion on Equine America Valmy de la Lande. It was Jack who produced the 1st clear in Hamburg. And I will start with good clears. Oh, that's a big knock. Good start there from Jack Whittaker. Yeah, he is upping the pressure. Mark McCauley now. Can he back that up? It's Jack Whittaker jumping double clear. Madrid in Motion. Currently 6th on the championship to overtake Cannes Stars. Where do they go? It is good, it is good. Yeah, Madrid in Motion overtake Cannes Stars for the lead here. Marcus Haining and John Whittaker, Star Gold and Equine America, Unique de Frapport. It starts all with this man, Haining, who adds a stride to the 2nd fence and supports Star Gold. Then a nice 5 in the same rhythm to the Oxer. And the back wheel is gone. Now Haining has to focus on the time. He's very fast. Look at the flyer of
Marcus Ehring and Stargold, 75.61 seconds. John Whittaker is now taking up his nephew, Jack Whittaker. A clear in time is actually enough. A combination and 2 single standing fences to give United their first win of the season. And here comes John Whittaker to give United their very first lead, their very first win of the championship this season. Now the big win for Ehring and Whittaker. No clean sheets in Hamburg.
A superb performance from those two veterans, and how lucky, how blessed, and what spoiled for choice how are Valkenswaard United, because you are able to now sub out Marcus Ehring and sub out John Whittaker and then bring in Laura Kraut, bring in Edwina Thops-Alexander, an abundance of experience, an abundance of talent for the defending champions. And they'll be looking to try and move from that lineup in Hamburg that performed exceptionally well to this now lineup in Cannes, bringing in Edwina Thops-Alexander and Laura Kraut for round 1. Could it be back-to-back victories for Valkenswaard United as they continue this resurgence up the championship, as they now try and make sure that that championship defense of theirs once again has extreme credibility? They are already up to 6th on the overall championship standings, and victory again this weekend could bring them into the top 4. And all of a sudden now, for a team that struggled at the early stages of the season, getting into a GCL Super Cup semi-final place may well be a real turn of events for Valkenswaard United. Speaking of the GCL Super Cup semi-final places, Hamburg, Stockholm and Berlin, your top 3 in the championship standings, did not perform exceptionally well in Hamburg. They struggled. Let's remind you as to what the championship top 3 were able to do last week.
And there it is. Now it could get tricky for Kuiten and for Hamburg Giants, because the next team that they will drop behind... Oh, whoa, 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 whoa! Hamburg Giants are taking a massive beating, and Suus Kuiten lowers her hands. The team is eliminated.
Suus, you have to continue. Come on, you can do it.
She had a couple of big mistakes, and then she feels sorry for herself and for her horse for sure, and then it was difficult for her to continue. We have to regroup. We will be back for sure.
Olivier Philippaerts, their second line rider. Philippaerts with Le Blue Diamond vanuit de Ruitershof. An early fault, look at that. Stockholm Hearts powered by H&M, second fence down. Here comes Philippaerts. He's in, oh, outside the town line as well. Oh, this is costly.
I was actually much slower than I thought. I thought actually my pace was pretty good, but after I crossed the finish line, I saw that I was really way too slow. So actually, it's a blame to put on myself.
Lily Atwoods on this 12-year-old Mike Alvaro. With lots of risk to global champions, and now with a first clear for her. No, the back rail goes. Lily Atwoods lands on the back rail of DKB. That is unlucky. Mixed bag of results from this team. Berlin Eagles powered by Fundis Rijksport. It doesn't feel hyper smooth. Oh, this is very long. Ludger Beerbaum, what do you do? And Beerbaum has to circle. As Mila stays very tense, Beerbaum has to circle. It looks like they will not feature on the podium because there will be time faults also coming. It's a massive, massive drop. They are not even inside the top 8.
A very, very tough weekend for Ludger Beerbaum and Mila in particular. He will not feature in GCL round 1 in Cannes. Now Owen McMahon comes in, Christian Kukuk comes in. That is the lineup for the Berlin Eagles today as they bring in some fresh faces for round 7 of the Global Champions League. Let's remind you then as to how things ended in Hamburg. We'll show you the table following that event. We spoke about that very important victory for Valkenswaard United. An impressive podium for Cannes Stars. And Prague Lions, who once again have a very, very strong lineup today, by the way. Brian Mogre and Peter de Vos line up for the Prague Lions. They found themselves in 5th last weekend and will be hoping to move even further up onto the podium this weekend. What about the bottom half of the table? Because that is where perhaps the more interesting storylines come out of. Stockholm Hearts powered by H&M, Berlin Eagles and Hamburg Giants, your championship top 3 all on the bottom half of the table. And to make for rather interesting viewing today in the Global Champions League, we have a jam-packed opening half of the competition. You know that you will join us back in studio here on GCTV after the first 8 teams. Let me quickly run you through some of the teams that will be performing in the top half of those 16. Stockholm Hearts, Hamburg Giants, Shanghai Swans, Berlin Eagles and Madrid in Motion, all inside the top 6 teams to come out the gate today. So we will get Cannes underway with real fire. Now, we look to try and put the spotlight on teams in the build-up to competitions here on the Global Champions League. And one of those teams this week that we want to put the spotlight on is Madrid in Motion. They are 4th on the overall championship standings and are looking to try and secure a top 4 place ahead of the playoffs in Prague later on this year. They do bring in Erik van der Vleuten, the manager who will make now his first debut appearance of the 2022 season for Madrid in Motion. GCTV caught up with him to get his thoughts on the season thus far and maybe what to expect this weekend.
Yeah, I think we can be very happy so far. We had already 3 podium places. I must say we are very happy with our under-25 rider, Jack Whittaker, because I think we have a very good team who works good together, nice people, who want to work for each other, and so we are happy with our team. Yeah, very.
Talk to me a little bit about the team that is present here in Cannes. Who have you got? Which riders, which horses, and who is going to start in round 1?
We have Angelica Sonatelli. We have Michael and myself. Tomorrow we will start off with Michael and myself. Angelica told me she liked to jump the first day once a smaller class with her horse, so we appreciate that, and so we go tomorrow, and then we see how it goes, how it runs, and then we decide for Saturday.
So Michael van der Vleuten currently in picture. It will be the father and son combination for Madrid in Motion today. They are currently 4th on the overall championship standings, I remind you, and a good performance in Cannes this weekend can only strengthen that position that they look to try and stay inside the top 4 for the Prague playoffs later on this year in the GCL Super Cup. Michael and Eric will be out for Madrid in Motion. Now, if I'm not mistaken, Frederick de Backer standing by for us once again. Frederick, let's head back to Cannes. Thank you very much for making time once more. Frederick, the fact that we haven't jumped in Cannes for the last, 3 years almost, I do wonder if some of the younger riders might not know what to expect. I think about, for example, Mike Kawai. I don't know how much experience he'll have in a ring like this. The absence of the Global Champions League and Cannes, should that be worrying? How will some of the younger riders take to today?
We shouldn't over-dramatize or analyze it. However, you are right that riders that have got the experience of jumping here have got the advantage. It's not going to be massive, and as long as everything goes well, it's okay. But it's the moment that something unexpected happens, that's when they will really start to struggle with this arena and with everything in Cannes. Actually, I see that I've got Lily Atwood here standing with me. Lily, we've got a special microphone for you. How are you doing, and how did you walk the course? What do you think of it?
I think it seems nice enough. Everything comes up you very fast. The big oxes off the corners, so I think we have to be mindful of the back bars today.
Mark Lewis just asked me, he's in studio in Amsterdam, riders that have never ridden here, are they in the disadvantage that they don't know the ring, how it rides?
I think it's definitely an advantage you've ridden here. Even in the first class today, everything came up a lot faster than I thought. So, yeah, we'll see.
Did you ride here before? Of course, you just rode your round on Caribou Horta. Well done. Double clear. But did you ride here before in the previous years?
No, my first time here.
First time?
First time, yeah.
Okay. Slope issue for you? The downhill slope?
No, my horse is quite used to. I think Hamburg helped with that.
100%.
It's definitely flatter than Hamburg.
All right.
I think it's not too much of a slope. Maybe, again, the Oxers up the hill you need to be mindful of, and maybe a double downhill, but for me it's okay so far.
All right, Lily, you are first to go with the team. I'll let you go. Thanks for your insight on this course here on the Stade des Hesperides. There you go. Answer of Lily Atwood. How do you think about the slope? No problem. How do you think about the arena itself? Yeah, the more you've ridden here, the more your horses have had exposure to the ring, the easier it will be for them.
So I wonder then how some of those younger combinations might go on to do with today. Frederick, talking about combinations, I see that from a top 4 perspective, Prague Lions, from a championship perspective, the Hamburg Giants, they've made really strong decisions about their lineup today. Remind us who is in for Prague Lions, who is in for the Hamburg Giants. This is, I'm taking it as a real signal of intent. Do you agree from those two teams in particular?
Absolutely. If you look at Prague Lions, Brian Mowgry is riding MTM Vive le Rêve. Bruinsel's is not on the team. He jumped a beautiful clear with the Lux van TNL in the previous class. He will let him rest for Saturday. So that's a combination to watch out for. Went to the Olympics. Is Bruinsel's himself a Cannes winner here already. And then Peter de Vos with Claire, with his Olympic medalist, also a super strong combination. Also a Grand Prix winner in a very tight arena. Claire, who jumped a lot of clears on Saint-Tropez Pirates in 2019, also here in Saint-Tropez. So yes, Prague Lions with a very strong lineup. Hamburg Giants, of course, they are a little bit not struggling, but they had a rough time in Hamburg, finishing last. They were eliminated. They retired, of course, with Suskouten. You talked about it already. Now with the Lestre, with Vrieling and with Bles. Now we'll see how strong they are to bounce back from that situation. And then, of course, also with Madrid in motion. That's somewhat the battle for that 4th place. It's Prague Lions in 5th, if I recall well. It is Madrid in motion in 4th, and Hamburg Giants, of course, in 3rd at the moment. But all those points on the championship are real close. And look who I have got with me. It's a giant. It is Bart Bles, but you're not in the kit, Bart. You're not in the Hamburg Giants kit. Tell me why.
Today I have individual, and I think the Giants now go a little bit back on the 3rd place, but today we have to try a little bit more, and Jur and Simon, I think they do their best and have the good horses here.
Tell me about the horses. Which horses are that?
Fiumicino from Jur and Ryan from Simon.
If you look at the statistics, those are 2 super fast horses. You'd think, oh, those are the best horses to have on Saturday, maybe, should it come down to combined time. Are you bringing them in maybe very early? Are you thinking about producing a lot of time, fast rounds in round 1 already?
No, there's a careful horses there, and I was the choice to make El Rocco today in the 1st round, and then I think Ryan and Fiumicino, normally they go easy, 1 now clear, and then maybe we change it on Saturday, a little bit look to plan.
If it would get a little bit bigger on Saturday, you've got some more horsepower behind you.
Yes, then we need a little bit scope, maybe crisscross, and then we see.
Okay. Last question. How did you digest the events in Hamburg? You were in Rome together with Jura, also with Simon. How did you look at those events in Hamburg? What do you think of it?
Yeah, the Hamburg, Hamburg is also good, but it's different than here in Cannes. It's a really different show. There is Maxim, and here is a little bit delicate, and the fences is quick coming.
Yeah. And actually talking about the team being eliminated, being retired, how did you look at that? How did you discuss that when you were out there in Rome?
Yeah, when we're not there and this happens so like this, that is it's never never good and never funny. But it sometimes happens. It's a horse, it's an animal, and it's a combination in that moment, and we have to do it.
Every team is allowed 1 off weekend, and maybe that was the off weekend for Hamburg Giants.
Yes, we see it now, and then we have to wake up a little bit for the other things, and then we do our best.
Okay, I will let you go, Bart, to talk to your teammates.
Thank you,
That's Simon Lestre and Jur Vrieling, of course. They have to wake up, is what Bart Bles says. I'm sure that the team management will have shaken them wide awake, though it's already quite late here in Cannes.
Maybe a little espresso before the start of the show. Frederick, before we get going, Valkenswaard United, we spoke so much about the experience of Marcus Eining and on John Whittaker. We really drove home that nail of experience. Both men step out, but they bring back experience of Laura Kraut and Edwina Tops-Alexander. What a luxury for the title defense for Valkenswaard United. Are those 2 riders in a position now to replicate what happened in Hamburg last weekend?
If you would look just at the experience, at the results from the past, you would say yes, absolutely. Edwina Topsel-Alexander, a two-time LGCT Grand Prix champion. On Valkenswaard United last year when they won the championship inside the GCL. Laura Kraut, a highly decorated rider, herself a GCL stage winner. Of course, it all comes down to the horses that you are riding. And then if you look at the results, for example, of Fellow Castlefield, he jumped 6 rounds so far. 2 of them are clear, 3 on a score of 4 and 1 on 8. So that's not really the super stat that you want to mention coming into this round. And Laura Kraut rides on Calgary Theme, a horse that hasn't been exposed to GCL level with her. It was a former ride of Julien Epaillard. For him, or for that horse, he hasn't jumped in Canon de Floodlight. It's a fairly young horse. We'll have to wait and see how that turns out. But last night I was speaking to Edwina Topsel-Alexander and I asked about how Fellow Castlefield is feeling. And she said he's extremely fresh to the limit nearly. She needs to make sure in the warm-up that she gets him settled on the right temperature, that he slows down, that he breathes well, that he's got the right amount of energy to come into the ring. Not too much, but of course also not too little. But control for her will be crucial as everything comes up really quick here.
All right, we'll be keeping an eye on the defending champions and the rest of the 15 other teams to come. Frederik de Backer, thank you very much for your time. He'll be one of the many language options available for you here on GCTV as you get ready to watch Global Champions League Round 1. We saw Edwina Topsel-Alexander actually catching up with Jessica Springsteen a few moments ago on screen. Of course, Springsteen riding for the Miami Celtics this season. And also, GCTV caught up with Jessica Springsteen ahead of today's opening round.
I'm so excited. I haven't been here in many years, so it's great to be back. I love this city, and it's a great arena, so I can't wait. I was on the Miami Celtics team a couple years ago, so it's good to be back on the team, and I can't wait to jump for the team tonight. Well, my mare's just coming back. She's feeling really good. She jumped great in Saint-Tropez 2 weeks ago, so I'm hoping, to have a good round tonight. I mean, it's always so much fun to be a part of the team, and we were on the podium here in Cannes, I want to say maybe 4 years ago, so it's special for us, and hoping to be back on the podium.
Miami Celtics will be looking forward to have Jessica Springsteen coming out along with Anthony Condon as well. 2 very, very talented riders. What can they do for Miami Celtics, who at the moment find themselves 14th place on the overall championship standings? They will need a severe boost to try and pick up their season, and that performance may well come today. We'll find out exactly how the overall championship standings look. Let's remind you, ahead of round 1 today, no real significant change with Berlin Eagles. They still now find themselves 10 points clear at the top of the table following a slightly indifferent weekend, but that elimination from Hamburg Giants. They now drop to 3rd. Stockholm Hearts leapfrogging them into 2nd. Madrid in Motion up to 4th, and Valkenswaard United following that win in Hamburg now up to 6th and are keeping a very close eye on the top 4. Very little movement on the bottom half. Thanks to another podium from Cannes Stars, they now move up to 10th, while Shanghai Swans, following a very poor performance in Hamburg, now drop down to 11th. How much change will come by the end of this weekend in round 7 of the Global Champions League? Stay with us here and we'll bring you all of the action. Make sure you look forward to it, and we will bring you every single step, every single jump, every single time fault right here on GCTV. Global Champions League Round 1 live from Cannes starts next.